Welcome back guys to another video of programming in C language. In our previous video we discussed about some basic terms of C programming. If you haven't watched that video then go and check it out. The link is in the description box. We will discuss about data types, variables and format specifiers in this tutorial. So without any further talk, let's get started. Now, what is data types? Data types refers to an extensive system used for declaring variables or functions of different types before its use. The type of a variable determines how much space it occupies in the storage. In short, data types is used to specify the type of the data. These data types are divided into four parts: primitive data type, derived data type, enumerated data types, and the void types. We will discuss only primitive and derived data types in details in this video. So here comes the primitive data types. Primitive data types are divided into three parts: integer, float, and characters. I hope all you know what is integer. Integer is defined as a number which has no fractional component, like 1, 2, 100, 10,000, etc. Integer data is represented by its own data type known as int. It requires 2 bytes of memory for 16-bit compilers and 4 bytes of memory for 32 and 64-bit compilers. It has several variants which differs based on memory consumption. Includes int, long, short, long. If you guys want to know about these integer variants in detail, don't hesitate to let us know in the comment section. Unlike integers, numbers which have a fractional component is known as floating point numbers or float, like 1.5, 2.5, 0.05, etc. Float data is represented by its own data type known as float, FLOAT. It requires 4 bytes of memory in almost all compilers. There are two major differences between integer and float data types. The difference between integer and float are: integer consumes significantly less space than floating point numbers, and another one is floating point numbers can represent numbers accurately, like 2.0, 2.05, etc. After integer and float data types, there comes character data types. Character data is represented by its own data char, C-H-A-R. C uses char type to store characters and letters. It stores single character and requires a single byte of memory in almost all compilers. However, the char type is integer type because underneath C stores integer numbers instead of characters. In order to represent characters, the computer has a map for each integer with a corresponding character using a numerical code. For example, the integer number 65 represents a character A in uppercase. The most common numerical code is ASCII. ASCII is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Now, it's time to know what is derived data types. Derived data types are defined by the user itself, like defining a class in C++ or a structure. This includes arrays, structures, function, class, union, pointers, etc. We'll discuss about array, pointer, function and structure in details in our upcoming videos. So if you haven't subscribed our channel yet, then go and press the subscribe button so that you can get all our upcoming videos about programming in C. The time has finally arrived to know about identifier and variable. So what is identifier? Any name to identify the data is called the identifier. Basically, identifiers are user-defined words used to name of entities like variables, arrays, functions, structure, etc. Here are some rules for naming the identifiers. You should remember it. So the first one is name should only consist of alphabets, both in upper and lower case, digits and underscore sign. Another one is first characters should be alphabet or underscore sign, not the digit. Remember it. Thanks for being patient till now. We'll discuss about variable and run a program in C to check the uses of variables and the data types. So, variable is a data name which is used to store some data value or symbolic names for storing program computations and the results. In short, variable is also an identifier with certain memory location. Now, don't mix this up. Every variable is an identifier, but every identifier is not a variable because identifier doesn't have a memory location. Here are some important rules you should remember about variables. The value of the variable can be changed during the execution. When we assign any initial value to variable during the declaration, it's called the initialization of variables. Another one is when variable is declared but contains undefined values, then it is called the garbage value. Now you might be thinking, what is garbage value? Garbage values are those values which are printed randomly, like random numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, like this. Before running the code in C compiler, we need to know about the format specifier. Many of you will know about the format specifier. So, it's for those who don't know about this. The format specifier are used in C for the input and the output purposes. Like format specifiers are used in association with the scanf function for taking input and the printf function for printing the data that is referred by any object or any variable. Like we used printf function in our previous video to print the hello world or anything you want to print within the quotation in the printf function. As you can see, format specifiers start with a percentage sign or modulo operator and followed by a special character for identifying the type of the data. Here is a list of format specifiers. %d is used for the integer, %f for float, and the %c for the character data types. This is a program to find the sum of two numbers. Let's run this code in the compiler. I already have run this code so that the video doesn't get any lengthy. Now I will just explain some terms what we just went through. As per the basic structure of a C program, this code is starting with the header file #include stdio.h standard input output, and then here it begins the main function int main. You can see that I use integer data type int. Here it's the integer data type, and a and b are two different variables. Here in this line the printf function is being used to tell the user to enter the value of a and b. We discussed about the printf function in our previous video. So if you haven't checked that video yet, then go and check that out. The link will be in the description box. Here we are using the scanf function to accept the value the user just gave. You can see that format specifier are being used here. %d and %d. We are using %d because we took the integer data type. But if you took the float data type here, then %f will be used instead of %d. So remember this. Only %d will be go with the integer data type and %f will be go with the float data type. And we will be using %c for the character data types. So the syntax of the scanf function is like this. Scanf first braces double inverted comma. Within that double inverted comma, we have to use that percentile d because we have taken the integer data type. After that, closing that double inverted comma, we have to assign the value of the first variable and the second variable like this. And after that, we have to close the statement with semicolon. In the next line, we are again using the printf function to print the output result. Here we have to wrote a plus b to add the two numbers. This a plus b will print this percentile means the final result. Let's compile this program and run it. Here, as we wrote here, enter the value of a and b in the printf function. You can see that these are showing enter the value of a and b. Let's give the number, let's see, 5 and 6, then enter. Here the addition of 5 means this percentile d is printing the 5, this percentile d is here, and 6 is 11. This 11 is printing because of this percentile d. As we wrote here the variable a comma b comma a plus b, the result will be showing as 5 and 6 is 11. Hope you all understand this, and if you are having any problem, let us know in the comment section. And also visit our website to get details note about this data type, integer and variables. The link of our website will be in the description box. That's all for today. We will discuss about types of error in C and operators in our next video. So if you find this video useful, make sure to like it and share it with your friends. And also subscribe and press the bell icon so that you can get the notification of our next video.